Herzlich willkommen zu Das vierte Drittel und heute sitze ich mal wieder auf dieser Seite des Mikrofons oder auf dieser Seite des Tisches. Hat zwei Gründe. Zum einen Simon Ahrens, unser Après-Ski-Häschen, ist gerade unterwegs in den Urlaub. Schöne Grüße in die Berge. Und auf der anderen Seite, Lessio ist englischsprachig. Aus dem Grund mache ich den Podcast heute wieder. Good evening, Lucas.
Good evening, Mark.
Yeah. Well, let's dive right into the English part. So from now on, we're going to have some subtitles later on, but we can talk about, first of all, the game tonight. Not the outcome you guys would have wished for in the first weekend of the new year. Let's walk through the first game today. What went wrong that the Wolves came up on top here?
I think they just played a patient game, to be honest. They just capitalized on a few of our mistakes. Obviously, the first goal is a lucky bounce and goes off us and in, and that happens. It's hockey. Bounces happen. But, I thought we still really took the game to them, and, the puck was in their end the most of the game. Their goalie played really well. We didn't capitalize on a lot of our chances, and that happens. But in terms of the way we played, I don't think we got outplayed, which sometimes when you have a loss, you got to take the little wins with it. So I think we can build off how we played and some of the things we did. Obviously, we have to work on a few things, but it wasn't a bad effort from our team. So I kind of look at the effort first and the result second, especially when, you're still in the regular season and you're figuring things out. Obviously, we're still in a very good spot in the standings. So sometimes it's good to battle some adversity throughout the year as well to come through as a group, and sometimes it brings you closer. So you got to look for the positives and everything. That's kind of my mindset.
What's the biggest challenge? Like from what I can see, like if like for Freiburg now, you prepare for an opponent, you look at the videos, and okay, those are the line combinations. How quickly can you adapt to? Suddenly the team being a completely different team and their structure and their game plan being completely overthrown. Like how difficult is it for you as a team to adapt to their misery, basically?
Yeah, well, obviously, they had some injuries and stuff, but I'm a firm believer in, sure, you got to adapt some things, but I think that, if you're going to be a team that wins and, makes it far in the playoffs, I think that teams really have to adapt to you. Mm-hmm. In a certain sense, I think that you always have to bring your best game and, not so much change based on what the other team's doing, but have the other team change based on what you're doing. And if you have a system that's proven success like we do, and when we play it, there's not too many teams that can hang with us. And, we're very good when we're playing well. So I think just sticking to our game and sticking to our structure, I think that's what's going to make us come out a lot of the times in games. So there's some adaptation, but then, the other side is just play our game and what makes us strong, and let's not worry about them so much as they have to worry about us. Yeah.
Well, now after we had the successful 13 13 wins in a row, like after that, like I think it was the Landshut weekend where we just barely scraped by Landshut, and then we drove there and we lost. After that, it felt a little different, like the teams were playing you differently. Is that something that comes to your mind as well, looking at the last 1.5 months, let's say mid-December to now, or is that something where you're the teams may adapt and they got to us a little better, or let's put it that way, where do you see the reason for this mid-season slump we're in right now?
I think, when you go on a 13-game winning streak like that, I think it really puts the league on notice. Obviously, teams want to beat you. You kind of generate a target on your back, and that's good, right? So a lot of the times when we go, we're getting teams' best games, right? They're excited to play a top team. They're excited to prove themselves to their coaches, to their fans that, they got it. So I know when I was playing on lesser teams or on the bottom of the standings, you'd play those top 3 teams, and hey, you'd come to play because we got nothing to lose, or we're expected to lose this game, so let's go out there and let's put our best foot forward and see what happens. And sometimes teams play with a little bit of extra jump and extra grit, and I think that's good for us because it prepares us for playoffs more. You don't want to get teams when they don't want to play you and they're not getting their best game. So I think right now, whatever team we're playing, they're bringing their best game for us. And obviously we're going through a little bit of a mid-season thing right now, but I don't think it's any cause for concern, to be honest. Just teams, like you said, are playing us harder, and it's getting us ready for playoffs. So we're going to come through as a group and put a winning streak again together. So I have no doubt in my mind about that.
I think looking back, like honestly, like how much more fun is this being part of this Krefeld time period than it was when you were first here in the DL? Like, I mean, like it was probably fun in a way, but like winning now compared to the DL time when you were first here in Krefeld, how do you compare these moments in your career?
Well, obviously, it's just not that it's a little bit easier. It's just a little bit more enjoyable when you are winning and having success, for sure. But even those 2 years I was here, I was still having fun, giving my best effort because, these fans, I think, are the best in Europe. So it's, they were still coming and they were still supporting us on the road and even when during the down times, and that kind of boosts you and gives you that energy to bring your best foot forward and play every night. Obviously, the success didn't come before, which, was kind of a bummer, but now it's coming to our team in that. And obviously, it's a lot more enjoyable in that in the room and stuff. It's obviously a lot less pressure when you're winning games more than you're losing games, right? So it's a lot more enjoyable. I try to have fun no matter the cause because, we play a game for a living, and with fans like this in a city like this, it's very special to me for sure. So just my focus is win or lose, slump or 13-game winning streak. You come and you put your best foot forward, and that's all you can really do.
Well, now it's your the third year in Krefeld, so to speak. Eh? So you got around town
fourth year.
Like now, like in the before we do these podcasts, I go through and like, this you had a freaking terrible time in Krefeld. Like the one time where you got like in the streets, where I think someone called me and like, "Hey, Lucas was attacked in Krefeld." And we're like, "What the heck is happening?" Like, but besides that, what do you take away from Krefeld, the city as such? Not only the people, but maybe all around Krefeld. What's your thoughts about Krefeld?
I love Krefeld, and that's a big reason why I came back for sure. Obviously, the fan base and the people in the city, such nice people, inviting people. It really feels like a second home to me, which is why I chose to come back for sure. I've had nothing but great experiences here and a great time here. Every time I'm walking the street, people are so nice. Always first to say hi, and I try to be really good with the fans and the kids and give back when I can. So that's kind of my mentality on that. But yeah, in terms of the city and fans and support, I don't think it's second to none. So I'm very happy I'm here.
I see that a lot. You take, like, you're not like okay, let's put it that way. Everyone takes time like to appreciate the kids, but you're one of the guys that really stops, that really talks to some kids. Like for some of the younger guys listening to the podcast, what's your main tip for them to get into hockey and maybe to approach maybe a professional hockey career even?
Yeah, just my mentality on that too is I remember when I was a kid, I was obsessed with the game. I loved the game. Me and my dad used to go to the Toronto Maple Leafs games a lot and watch warm up and that. And I was that kid too, banging on the glass, asking for a puck or a signature or a stick. And when those kids receive that, it really makes their day, makes their week. They go to school, they bring it to school, and then that's what kind of starts dreams, right? You start to really love your hometown team, and you really start to become personal with the players, and just hoping that kind of sparks this young group and kids to really drive with hockey and with this profession is, to basically grow the game in Krefeld and in Germany in general. And I think that's a really big part of it for kids, having the stopping and giving them the time of day to, they look up to their heroes or people on the ice and that. So every time somebody asks, I make sure to do my best effort to do what I can do for them and to stop and take the extra time out of my day because it really brings joy.
Yeah.
Abfall ist Giganto? Container von Curanto für private und gewerbliche Entsorgung. Einfach online bestellen. Curanto mit C, curanto.de.
Who was your favorite Maple Leaf growing up?
Maple Leaf had to be Matt Sundin.
Oh yeah,
for sure. He was unbelievable. I had his jersey, and we had season tickets.
Oh, nice.
We had half the season, so my dad used to bring me all the time, and it was that's kind of where I grew up loving the game, right? So, you go to those games in that arena, and we lived about an hour out of the city, so it was that commute and that travel to the game and getting there, and the hype of being in the building and watching your favorite stars, and that's what kind of drives you and gives you that motivation to really make a profession out of it.
Yeah, I mean, you come from like a highly competitional area in Canada when it comes to hockey. I mean, like it's basically the Toronto area is very competitive, and the British Columbia area is very competitive. What's when you look back at your junior career, when did it start to become serious, and until what point was just like, hey, it's fun, and I'm out here with my buddies, like when did that change for you?
Probably when you start getting, I would say 2 years before your OHL draft year, when the agents start approaching you and trying to get you to sign with them, then it really, it kind of clicks into gear that, hey, this is now a profession, and, you're getting representation and things like that. So, I mean, you're young at that time, 14, 15 years old, so you're just trying to still have fun, play the game you love, and work hard and battle and whatnot. But I would say around 14, 15 years old, that's where it really starts to gear up for guys. And, guys are starting to get agents. And you look to the OHL draft where you get drafted out of junior hockey. And that's kind of the path that, a lot of Toronto guys take and stuff. So I would say right around then, about 14, 15 years old, you start to separate, and they start to kind of see the guys that they think are going to make an impact at the next level. And then, hey, even the guys that they didn't think were going to make an impact at the next level, and they took a little bit of a longer route to get there, and now they're playing in the NHL. So it's, even for the kids out there, I would say, even if, you are 13, 14, 15, and you're not getting looks or whatever it is, just keep going, keep battling, because there's a different path and route for everybody. And if you stick true to your passion, good things will come of it. Yeah.
So, and you had your little NHL moments as well. You got drafted then in 2011, was it?
Yes, that's right.
Second round. Oh, what a bum. Not even first round. Yeah. No, jokes aside, like, what was that feeling, Like, you got, like, were you at the draft, or was it just like, because I know that that those that are projected to go in the first round, they are usually there at the draft, but were you there as well, and how was that experience for you?
Usually your agent will kind of tell you, hey, you're going to get drafted, so I know guys that were even 5th, 6th round that were all there, and
nice.
You want to be there for if you get called, right? I think that's just too big of an opportunity to miss. Even if you go and you don't get called, I think it's better than if you don't go and do get called, right? So it's really special moment, putting on the jersey and kind of meeting everybody in the organization, and really the first step of being a part of something that you dreamed of your whole life and you worked through your whole life, and it's really hard to describe. It was a good experience, actually. All my childhood friends actually came to Minnesota for the draft. They drove 15, 16 hours, about 8 of them. So my grandmothers came, and it was really a nice experience for the whole family, and kind of full circle, kind of seeing everything come to fruition.
Who was more nervous, you or your parents?
Probably me, I think. Just because I was a pretty nervous, anxious guy growing up with that stuff, and going through the first round, you don't get called. It's kind of a bummer, and then just kind of waiting, and when am I going to get called? Who am I going to get called by? You can go to any team, right? It's kind of crazy, just hearing names and seeing teams come up, and this might be me, maybe it's not. So it's kind of crazy that you can really go to any team and start your career from there, right?
Like, so it would have been your wish for the Maple Leafs to draft you, or was it just like in the moment you're like, I don't care?
I think in the moment you don't care. Obviously, if you get drafted by your hometown team, that's got to feel pretty special. But I mean, you get drafted to any NHL team. It's an honor, and it was probably one of the best times of my life. So I'm very grateful to go through that experience.
Well, let's look a little outside of the ice, you know, I mean, there is a Lucas Lessio that probably doesn't wear skates all the time. So what's your what do you do for a downtime? Like, what's to get your mind off hockey, or is it always on?
No, I'm the kind of guy, when I was younger, it was kind of always on, and it kind of, not that it drove me crazy, but I think thinking too much of something is kind of counterproductive at times. So, you know, now I kind of just try to relax. I read a lot on the off times as well. Just try to educate myself about everything. A couple Netflix shows. I'm a big shows guy as well. I think that's a good passing of time. Then anything, just walking around, getting some exercise. And that's about it. Nothing too special.
Right now, you're starting with the German lessons as well, I heard.
Yes. I'm going to start with those soon. So it'll be interesting, and I'm really excited to learn German and that. So that'll be another very good journey for me. Yeah.
You're not alone. Like, we know Jessica, your girlfriend, long time. Yeah, I mean, she's been here, I think, when Maxi and I, when we were still here in the DL, she helped us with the social media when you were here the first time.
Yes.
Like, how supportive, like, how much support can she give you, and how often is she here, actually, like, to do that?
Oh, she's awesome. She supports me so much. I'm really thankful and glad to have her by my side, for sure. She was here the last 2 years, and now she's working a job at home, actually. So she's kind of back and forth, and she found a position she really likes at home, and she's really thriving in. So I'm really happy for her. So right now our careers are, you know, they're going pretty well, and she's found a little niche for herself that she's very good at and flourishing. So I try to be supportive of her as much as I can about that. We know whenever she needs help with something or ask a question, I'm always there for her to try to give her my advice, or, you know, things on a day-to-day basis. So we kind of help each other through things, which is a great support system.
How much hockey was there for her before she met you? Like,
none really, to be honest. Yeah, she's. I kind of had to teach her the rules and stuff. You know, coming to games and whatnot, and but yeah, she's getting really into it and that. So it's good. It's funny because she. No hockey before that, and then we kind of met, and then that's, you know, that becomes a big part of her life. So it was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, we're almost at the end, so let's take a look at a little outside, or like into the future. Like the season, we just talked about it halfway through. We're getting into a part of the season where, like, details matter more and more. What do you think? What's in it for the team? Like, where do you think you have to improve now? And maybe even looking at the coaching staff, which had a little change with Stefan Zische coming in. Like, how do you think that affects anything there in the locker room?
Oh, I think Stefan has been great since he's been here. He's such a knowledgeable guy, and everything he kind of says to guys, and he said a few things to me, is spot on, and he really knows his hockey. So it's obviously Popey's an unbelievable coach too. So we have two great guys at the helm that really know what they're doing. So just basically following whatever they say. You know, they know the game inside and out, and they have a lot more experience than us with it. So just following what they say, implementing what they say, and doing it with intensity, and you know, and obviously capitalizing on our scoring chances, right? They can't put the puck in the net for us, unfortunately. So it's on us, especially a game like tonight where we do create so much, and, you know, we put a couple pucks by the goalie, and it's a completely different game. So I think coming up, just really bearing down on our scoring chances as a group, really not taking any scoring chances for granted, because you never know when you do need those goals in the game, just like today. Every goal counts, obviously. So I think just really bearing down as a group to, especially even in practice, to just bear down and score more goals.
Yeah, I heard a lot about, like, the practice part being, like, much more intensive than it was, like, last year. Do you agree that? Like, you're nodding, but yeah.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. Yeah. I think we're in great shape as a team. Yeah. And a lot of that has to do with our practices and the intensity of our practices. I think when you watch our games, I think even when we do get beat, and we're down, I think the third period we're all over teams, and they're kind of getting tired, and we're still going. So I think law of averages over the course of a season, I think to have that in the tank is really going to do you better than obviously do your worst. So I think the practices, like you said, have been unbelievable. And, I think our team stamina is really taking another level here come January, February. So, and everybody knows I'm not saying the regular season not worth nothing, because it is.
No, I know.
But, playoffs is where obviously it's worth all the marbles and all it counts. So it's, like Popey always says, it's a process. So just making sure, number one, we stay healthy, because that's obviously the biggest thing heading into playoffs. And then, still fine-tuning our game and working into that. So when February hits, we're at the peak of our game, and we just roll into playoffs with it.
Yeah. I think that's a good end of the podcast. Yeah, we'll see the Maxi is nodding his head. Lucas, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, Mark.
And we have to talk about Leafs legends next. So
Yes.
There are a couple of good guys on that roster back
lot.
in that time. Ja, dann sind wir am Ende angekommen. Vielen Dank natürlich auch, dass ihr mich als Vertreter für Simon hier als Moderator sozusagen mit in diesen Podcast reingenommen habt. Ansonsten danke ich euch natürlich für eure Aufmerksamkeit, und dann ab nächste Woche ist Simon auch wieder mit dabei, und dann haben wir natürlich wieder einen anderen und neuen Gast dabei. Bis dann, ciao.